Hey guys, Monster Cookie here with another Lionize Watch LLD guide. Next week's Lionize Watch PvP event has a unique only gear restriction, which means that apart from our flasks, all our gear and items have to be uniques. And of course, all the other rules like no quality gems, no ascendancies, max 4 link, etc. still apply. This week's build is my shield charge plus Frenzy Facebreaker, and in my opinion it's one of the better melee builds that can be made in this unique only format. Obviously we're using Facebreakers, so this means all of our damage will come from the flat physical damage we get from gear, and since this is a unique only event, it's actually not that hard to cap out on that. But more about this in the gear section later in this video. This build is based on the build I participated and won the PvP Invitational with, and since then there's been quite a lot of changes to shield charge. It used to be this one-shot ability that was quite hard to hit with, but now it gains some attack speed, some nice AoE, and it's more about just relentlessly charging at your opponent in a very quick succession. So the fun factor, at least for me, is still there. There's three ways this build can do damage, shield charge and frenzy being the two main ones, and then of course the trigger gems, reckoning and riposte. For shield charge and frenzy we use melee physical damage, faster attacks and block chance reduction, and for reckoning and riposte we also use melee physical damage and block chance reduction. Now you may have noticed that riposte and reckoning require you to block an attack or spell before they actually trigger. So let's go over the skill tree and gear to show you how we get enough block for those trigger gems to actually do some serious damage. This is also actually one of the things I love about this build, is you can invest in survivability, in this case block, and to an extent life, and this automatically means you're also investing in your offensive capabilities. So let's take a look at the passive tree. I'll just put down some numbers. You can find the actual tree in the description below. So this tree gives us 50% increased life, 2.6% life regen, 12% additional block chance, and a total of 188 melee physical damage. As for gear, we aim to get high life, the highest we can get on uniques, decent resists, and as much flat physical damage as we can get. The flat physical damage mainly comes from Meganords, Foxshade, and these Le Hoop of all rings. The life comes from Crest of Barandus, this lovely helmet, which is a faded version of the normal helmet, and this one actually gives stun immunity as well, so it's quite a nice helm. And then of course the strength that can be found on the Meganords and the rings adds some flat life, which is a nice bonus. Resists are actually quite hard to come by on this build, so I have a Gold Rim swap against pure elemental builds, and a Cloak of Flame swap against physical builds that use Molten Shell or something like Herald of Ash, because it also caps my fire resistance. Last but not least, we use a Stone of Lazwar, which provides some lovely spell block, and in combination with the high block chance we get from Crest of Barandus and the additional block we get from passives, this build is actually quite tanky for just a unique only build. As you can see here, I get about 1k life, a little over that, and 46% block chance with Tempest Shield, which also gives us 23% spell block, of course. Alright, one more thing I forgot to tell you. The auras I use are Clarity, because we can't use Eldreon rings, Arctic Armor for the chill, and Herald of Ash. Now, this last one really is something special for Facebreaker builds, because your damage per hit is actually quite big, especially combined with the trigger gems. They go off all the times, they're AoE, so the overkill damage we can do on traps and things like totems, or even mirror arrows, can actually drain your opponent's life pots quite fast because of the overkill burn damage. So let me show you what I mean. In this clip my opponent put down some traps below his feet. Now as you can see I'm shield charging right through him, and because of the AoE of shield charge the traps die and he gets ignited because of Herald of Ash. This also works with your trigger gems, Reckoning and Riposte. Here you can see me blocking his arc and proccing Reckoning, which in turn destroys the traps and his totem, and he gets ignited for the overkill damage. Okay, so that's about it for this build guide. Next week's Lion Eyes Watch event will be on Saturday the 29th. Link to Project PT's forum post in the description below. I will also be making a forum post with all kinds of LLD builds that are fit for the Lion Eyes Watch events. Hopefully I can convince some of the other players to share their builds as well. Also, if you have any suggestions for an LLD build using a certain skill or a certain unique, feel free to let me know in the comments and maybe I can give it a try next week. See you guys next time.
Fight.
Yeah, I think Monster Cookie's probably very nervous because this is.
Oh! That shield charge though! The hell! Monster Cookie! He was mad!